The champagne glass slipped from my hand. I watched it fall, spinning through the night air, and then I was falling too. The cold hit me like 1,000 knives, and when I surfaced, gasping, the ship was already a wall of lights pulling away. I screamed my daughter's name, but the engine noise swallowed everything. That was 3 hours ago. Now I'm just trying to stay afloat. The life jacket I'd been wearing at the party, the one Sarah insisted I put on for the photos, Mom, come on, is the only reason I'm still breathing. My arms are numb. My legs stopped working somewhere around hour 2. The Caribbean water isn't as warm as the brochures promised. Or maybe hypothermia just makes everything feel cold. I keep replaying it, Sarah's hand on my back, not pushing, just there, and then not there, and then I was in the air. Mom's had too much to drink, I heard Marcus say as I fell. My son-in-law's voice, explaining to the other passengers. She's always been clumsy on boats. I hadn't had any champagne. The glass was my first of the night, but that's the kind of detail that doesn't matter when you're drowning in the middle of the ocean at midnight, does it? The kind of detail that dies with you? The insurance money, though, that matters. I'd signed the papers 3 months ago. Sarah had brought them to Sunday dinner, all apologetic smiles. I know it's morbid, Mom, but you're getting older. We just want to make sure you're protected. Marcus works in finance. He knows these things. $2 million. With Sarah as the sole beneficiary. She'd inherit the house too, the house Richard and I bought 40 years ago, the house where we raised her, the house that's worth another million easy in today's market. It's just paperwork, Sarah had said, sliding the documents across my kitchen table. You're healthy as a horse. You'll probably outlive us all. I'd believed her. What mother wouldn't? Your only child, sitting in your kitchen, eating your pot roast, telling you she loves you and just wants to protect you. I'd signed, and now I'm floating in the Atlantic, watching the carnival lights of the cruise ship disappear into the black. And I understand. This wasn't an accident. This wasn't too much champagne or a clumsy moment at the rail. This was attempted murder. My daughter tried to kill me. A wave slaps my face, and I choke on salt water. My vision's starting to blur. I've read about drowning. Who hasn't? And I know the stages. Panic, then exhaustion, then acceptance. I'm somewhere between exhaustion and acceptance now. My body wants to sleep. Just close your eyes, it whispers. Just rest. But something in me, some stubborn, furious part refuses. I didn't survive 62 years, widowhood, breast cancer, and 3 decades of teaching high school English just to die because my daughter got greedy. I force my eyes open. The stars are incredible out here. Richard would have loved them. He always talked about taking a cruise, seeing the ocean properly, not just from a beach. Someday, he'd say. When we retire, he died 2 months before retirement. Heart attack at his desk, grading papers. That was 5 years ago. Sarah had been so sweet after the funeral, moving back home for 3 months to help me adjust, making sure I wasn't alone. I'd thought we'd grown closer. Mother and daughter, finally friends. I see it now. She was checking the house's value, meeting with Marcus's finance friends, planning. How long had they been planning? Another wave, bigger this time. It pushes me under, and I can't find the surface. My lungs scream. This is it, I think. This is how it ends. And then something solid bumps against my shoulder. I grab it without thinking. Wood, a piece of driftwood, or maybe part of a crate. It's not much, but it's enough to keep my head above water while I cough up seawater and remember how to breathe. The sky is starting to lighten. Dawn. I've been in the water for 4 hours. I'm not going to make it to 5. That's when I hear the engine, not the cruise ship. That's long gone. This is smaller, closer. I try to scream, but my throat is raw from salt water. I wave my arm instead, once, twice. The life jacket is bright orange. Surely they'll see, Oye, hey alguien ahí, Spanish, a fishing boat. The engine cuts and suddenly there's a face above me, brown and weathered and shocked. Please, I manage. Just that one word. Strong hands pull me up. I collapse on the deck like a landed fish, shaking so hard my teeth rattle. Someone wraps a blanket around me. Someone else is talking rapid-fire Spanish into a radio. "Inglés?" the first man asks. He's maybe 50, with kind eyes and calloused fisherman's hands. I nod. "Miguel," he says, pointing to himself. Then, in careful English, "You are okay now. We call Coast Guard. You are safe." Safe. I start crying. Not pretty crying, the ugly, gasping kind that comes from your gut. Miguel just pats my shoulder and brings me water. Fresh water. I drink it too fast and throw it up. But he brings more, and I'm more careful this time. "What happened?" he asks after I've stopped shaking quite so badly. What do I say? My daughter pushed me off a cruise ship to collect my life insurance? "I fell," I whisper. "From the ship. Last night." His eyebrows shoot up. "Last night? Toda la noche en el agua?" I nod. He crosses himself. "Milagro," he mutters. "Miracle." The Coast Guard arrives 30 minutes later. They wrap me in thermal blankets, check my vital signs, radio ahead to the hospital in San Juan. I'm hypothermic, dehydrated, and in shock, but alive. "The cruise ship," I say to the paramedic. "They need to know." "Already contacted, ma'am. They reported you missing this morning when you didn't show up for breakfast. They're turning around." This morning. Sarah waited until morning to report me missing. Probably wanted to make sure I was good and dead first. I close my eyes. The fury is starting to cut through the exhaustion. Good. I'll need it. At the hospital, they pump me full of fluids and warm me up. Slowly too fast can cause cardiac arrest, apparently. A doctor who looks too young to be a doctor tells me I'm remarkably lucky and should be dead. "I'm a survivor," I tell him. He smiles like it's a joke. The cruise line sends a representative. "Very sorry. Terrible accident. Offering to comp my next cruise." I smile and nod, and don't mention that my daughter pushed me. Not yet. I need to think. Sarah arrives that afternoon, all tears and mascara. "Mom! Oh my God, Mom! I thought you were dead." She hugs me, and I let her, even though my skin crawls. Over her shoulder, I see Marcus hanging back, watching. His face is harder to read. "I'm okay," I say. "Thanks to a fisherman named Miguel. We looked everywhere for you," Sarah sobs into my shoulder. "When you weren't in your cabin this morning." I panicked. The ship turned around. "We've been searching." "This morning?" I pull back to look at her. "I fell last night. Around midnight. You didn't notice I was missing until morning?" She blinks. We thought you'd gone to bed. Your cabin was locked. You didn't check on me? After I fell off the deck? We didn't know you fell." Her eyes are wide, innocent. "Marcus said you'd had too much to drink and went to lie down." I look at Marcus. He meets my gaze steadily. "You were pretty unsteady on your feet, Ruth. I helped you back to your cabin around 11:30. You said you needed to sleep it off." Lies. Smooth, practiced lies. "I didn't have anything to drink," I say quietly. "Mom." Sarah takes my hand. "You had at least 3 glasses of champagne. I'm not judging. It was a party. But you kept saying you felt dizzy. That's why we got you the life jacket, remember? We were worried." They've built an alibi. Drunk old woman, too much champagne, fell overboard. Tragic accident. The life jacket proves they were trying to keep me safe. Except they didn't count on Miguel. "I see," I say. "I must have been more drunk than I thought." Sarah's shoulders relax. "It's okay, Mom. The important thing is you're safe." She squeezes my hand. "Let's get you home." Home. Where she's already the beneficiary on my life insurance. Where she has keys. Where, if I have another accident, she inherits everything. "Actually," I say, "I think I'd like to stay in San Juan for a few days. The doctors want to monitor me." "I'll stay with you," Sarah says immediately. "No, too sharp." I soften it. "I mean, you've already missed work for this cruise. I'll be fine. The cruise line is covering everything." She doesn't like it, I can tell. But what can she say? They leave that evening, and I'm alone. That's when I start planning. The hospital discharges me 2 days later. The cruise line has indeed comped everything, including a hotel room at a resort in San Juan while I recover. I accept graciously, and then I go to the U.S. Embassy. I need to report an attempted murder, I tell the vice consul. She's a sharp woman in her 40s named Patricia Flores. She listens to my story without interrupting, taking notes. You understand, she says carefully when I finish, that this will be difficult to prove. Your daughter and son-in-law have witnesses who say you were intoxicated. The life jacket suggests they were trying to protect you. I know, and you have no physical evidence of being pushed. I know. Then why are you here? Because I need time, I say. If I go home now, I'll have another accident. I need time to build a case, and I need your help keeping me alive long enough to do it. She studies me for a long moment. Then, what do you need? I spend a week in San Juan. The embassy provides security discreetly, so Sarah doesn't know. I hire a lawyer. A good one, recommended by Patricia. His name is James Chen, and he specializes in financial fraud. Life insurance fraud is tricky, he tells me in our first meeting, but not impossible. Tell me everything. I do. The papers Sarah brought to Sunday dinner, the cruise invitation, the timing, the alibi they constructed. We'll need to prove premeditation, James says. That means showing a pattern. Did they try anything else before this? I think back. Small things, maybe. Sarah encouraging me to update my will. Marcus asking detailed questions about my retirement accounts. That time I got food poisoning after dinner at their place, but that could have been coincidence. I don't know, I admit. But I know what I felt when I hit the water. I know my daughter's hand on my back. Gut feelings don't hold up in court, James says. Not unkindly, but bank records do. Give me permission to subpoena your daughter's financial records. If they were in trouble, if they needed money badly enough to kill for it, that's motive. That we can prove. I sign the papers. Meanwhile, I call Sarah from the hotel. I'm coming home next week, I tell her. I just needed some time to process everything. Of course, Mom. She sounds relieved. We were so worried. Your house has been lonely without you. Your house, not my house. She's already claiming it. How are things there? I ask casually. Oh, you know, same old. Marcus and I have been staying at your place, actually. We figured we should keep an eye on it while you're gone. Water the plants, get your mail. They're in my house. Going through my things. That's sweet of you. I manage. When I hang up, I call James. They're in my house. Can they legally do that? Do they have keys? Sarah does. I gave her a spare years ago. Then technically, yes. Unless you ask them to leave. He pauses. Which I don't recommend yet. If they think you're suspicious, they'll destroy evidence. So I wait. James calls 3 days later. I've got something. Your son-in-law has been gambling, badly. He's $170,000 in debt to some very serious people. People who don't accept payment plans. My stomach drops. How serious? Loan sharks, the kind who break kneecaps. James's voice is grim. Sarah probably didn't know at first, but at some point, Marcus would have needed a solution. Fast. And your life insurance policy is $2 million. I close my eyes. Plenty to pay off his debts and have change left over. Exactly. This gives us motive. Now we need evidence of planning. Email exchanges, text messages, anything that shows they discussed killing you. They're not stupid enough to write that down. You'd be surprised what desperate people write down. Or say out loud. If you came home wearing a wire, no, the word comes out harder than I intended. I'm not going back there. Not yet, but I do go home. A week later, as promised, James has arranged for recording devices in my house, hidden in smoke detectors, picture frames, not admissible in court, he warns, but enough to know what we're dealing with. Sarah picks me up at the airport. She hugs me tight, and I smell her familiar perfume, and I want to believe it was all a mistake. that my daughter didn't try to kill me. But when we get to my house, I see Marcus in my husband's recliner, drinking my husband's scotch, and the fantasy dies. "Welcome home," he says. I smile. It's good to be back. That night, lying in my own bed, I listen to the house settle. Sarah and Marcus are in the guest room. They offered to go back to their apartment, but I insisted they stay. "I don't want to be alone yet," I'd said. After everything, Sarah had looked so happy. Through the baby monitor app James helped me install, I can hear them talking. "She's different," Marcus says. "She's traumatized. Give her time." I don't like it. "She's watching us. You're paranoid." A pause. Then, "We should have made sure." When she went over, my blood runs cold. "Stop." Sarah's voice is sharp. "We agreed. We never talk about it. It was an accident. An accident we planned for 6 months. Marcus, I'm just saying, if she suspects anything, she doesn't. She can't. We were careful. I'm recording this. Every word. The money should come through next month," Sarah says, softer now. "Once the insurance company finishes their investigation, then we pay off your debts and start over." What if they don't pay? What if they think it's suspicious? Why would they? She fell off a cruise ship. She was drunk. There were witnesses. It's tragic, but it's not murder. Except I didn't die. I lie there in the dark, listening to my daughter plan how to spend my life insurance money, and I make a decision. I'm not just going to survive this. I'm going to destroy them. The next morning, I call the life insurance company. I explain that I'd like to change my beneficiary, remove Sarah, add a charity instead, the literacy foundation I volunteered with for years. "Of course, Mrs. Patterson," the agent says. "We'll send the paperwork." "Actually, can I come in and do it in person? I'd like it changed immediately." "Certainly. We have an office in..." I make the appointment for that afternoon. I tell Sarah I'm going shopping. I take an Uber. The paperwork takes 20 minutes. When it's done, Sarah is no longer my beneficiary. If I die now, she gets nothing. The agent seems confused by the urgency, but I smile and say something about wanting to simplify my affairs. She doesn't need to know that I'm making sure my daughter has no financial motive to kill me again. But I'm not done. Over the next week, I systematically remove Sarah from everything. Joint bank accounts closed. New ones opened in my name only. The spare key to my house? I have the locks changed while she's at work. Access to my safety deposit box revoked. I even update my will with James's help, leaving everything to charity. Sarah notices. Of course she notices. "Mom," the bank called. They said our joint account was closed? Oh, yes. I'm making tea, my back to her. Casual. My financial advisor suggested I simplify things. For estate planning. But we've had that account since Dad died. In case you needed help managing, I can manage fine on my own, sweetheart. A pause. I can feel her recalculating. And the locks? I tried my key yesterday and it didn't work. I turn, smile. The locksmith said they were old. Security risk. I had them all changed. I'll get you a new key. I won't. That night, the whispered arguments through the monitor are more heated. She knows something. She can't know. How would she know? She's cutting us out. The accounts, the locks. So we accelerate. Another accident. Something at home this time. The stairs, maybe. Or the bathroom. Old woman slips in the shower. I'm sitting in my bedroom, recording every word on my phone. My hands are shaking, but my resolve isn't. The next morning, I go back to James. I have them, I say. Recorded. Planning a second attempt. He listens to the recordings, his face darkening. This is good. This is very good. But it's not enough for criminal charges. The recording was made without their consent. It's not admissible. Then what? But it gives us ammunition for a civil case. And it tells us we need to move now, before they try again. He leans forward. How would you feel about a confrontation, controlled, in my office, with a proper recording setup? If we can get them to confess, they won't confess. They might. If they think you're offering them a deal, if they think there's a way out, I consider this. What kind of deal? You don't press charges about the cruise ship. You keep them in your will. In exchange, they leave you alone. That's rewarding them for trying to murder me. That's making them think they've won. Long enough for them to let their guard down. Long enough for them to say something incriminating on a proper recording. He pauses. Or you can wait. Gather more evidence. Risk them trying again. I think about Richard. What would he do? He'd protect himself, but he'd also want justice. Set up the meeting, I say. 3 days later, we're in James's conference room. Sarah and Marcus sit across from me, confused and wary. James has introduced himself as my estate planning attorney. The video cameras are hidden. Everything they say will be admissible. Mom, what's this about? Sarah asks. I fold my hands on the table. I know. Know what? About the cruise ship, about the gambling debts, about the plan. Marcus goes very still. Sarah's face doesn't change, but her knuckles whiten. I don't know what you're talking about. You pushed me, Sarah, off the ship, you and Marcus, for the insurance money. That's Mom. That's crazy. You fell. You were drunk. I wasn't drunk. I've never been drunk a day in my life. I pull out a folder. Inside are printouts, bank statements, the gambling debts, email exchanges between Sarah and insurance agents asking about policy payouts. I know about Marcus's debt. I know you've been planning this for months. Sarah's breathing is getting faster. Marcus puts a hand on her arm. Careful what you say, he murmurs. But Sarah's not careful. Sarah's furious. You have no idea what it's like. She stands up, hands flat on the table. Watching you sit in that big house with all that money while we're drowning. Marcus made mistakes, yes, but we needed help. And you wouldn't even consider a loan. You never asked for a loan because you would have judged us. You would have made us feel like failures. She's crying now. So yes, fine. We thought if you had an accident, if the insurance paid out naturally, we could solve our problems without bothering you with them. Is that so terrible? The room is silent. Marcus has his head in his hands. James is still, pen hovering over his notepad. And I'm looking at my daughter, my only child, and seeing a stranger. You tried to kill me, I say quietly. That's not solving problems. That's murder. It was supposed to be quick. Sarah's voice cracks. You were supposed to drown quickly, not suffer. We gave you the life jacket so you wouldn't be scared as long. Sarah, stop talking. Marcus's voice is dead, but she can't. It's all pouring out now. We thought we were doing the right thing. You're old, Mom. You've had a good life. You've been alone since Dad died. You thought my life was worth less than $2 million. She sinks back into her chair, crying. I stand. James, do you have what you need? Yes, ma'am. I look at Sarah one last time. I've already changed my beneficiaries. You'll get nothing when I die. My will leaves everything to charity. And these recordings? They go to the police. I'm pressing charges for attempted murder. Mom, please. You should have let me drown. I walk out. The police arrest them that afternoon. The recordings are clear enough. Sarah's confession is clear enough. They're charged with attempted murder and insurance fraud. The trial takes 8 months. I sit in that courtroom every single day, watching my daughter and her husband try to convince a jury that they didn't mean it, that they were desperate, that they loved me really. The jury doesn't buy it. 15 years for Sarah, 20 for Marcus, because it was his debt, his plan. I testify. I tell them about the cold water, the hours floating, the certainty that I would die. I tell them about Miguel pulling me from the ocean. I tell them about coming home and hearing my daughter plan to kill me again. When it's over, when the verdict comes in, Sarah looks at me from the defendant's table. I'm sorry, she mouths. I don't respond. Because here's what I learned. Floating in that dark water, some things can't be forgiven. Some betrayals are too deep. This isn't about mercy. This is about consequences. Sarah took everything from me, my trust, my love, my sense of family. She tried to take my life. I took her freedom instead. Fair trade. I visit Miguel 6 months after the trial. He's still fishing, still pulling life from the ocean. When he sees me, his face lights up. La Señora Milagro. I bring him a check. $50,000. His reward from the Coast Guard was only $500. I've made sure he gets what he deserves. He tries to refuse, but I insist. You saved my life, I say. This is what it's worth to me. He cries. His wife cries. Their children, 3 of them, teenagers, crowd around to meet the woman their father rescued. I stay for dinner. Fresh fish, rice, stories in broken English and broken Spanish. This is family, I think. Not blood, not obligation, just kindness. When I leave, Miguel hugs me. You are strong, he says. No, I tell him. I'm a survivor. There's a difference. The house is quiet when I get home. I've sold it, too many ghosts, and bought a smaller place near the ocean. I can hear the waves at night. They don't scare me anymore. I volunteer at the Literacy Foundation 3 days a week. I've started writing a memoir about survival and betrayal. The publisher thinks it'll sell well. All proceeds go to charity. I've made peace with being alone. Some people say I should forgive Sarah, that she's my daughter, that family is everything, that hate will poison me. But I don't hate her. I just don't love her anymore. And that, I think, is worse. She writes me from prison sometimes. Long letters about therapy and regret and redemption. I read them. I don't respond. Maybe someday I will, but not today. Today, I'm just grateful to be alive, to feel the sun on my face, to hear the ocean, to know that I survived my own daughter trying to kill me and came out the other side. They thought $2 million was worth more than my life. They were wrong, and now they have nothing. No money, no freedom, no mother, while I have everything that matters. My life, my dignity, my peace, and the satisfaction of knowing that justice, however cold, was served. I smile, looking out at the waves. Some fires only betrayal can light. Some strength only survival can forge. They thought they could drown me. Instead, I learned to swim.